Okay, so we're going to be listing the bond on Friday, and it's something that has been a long way coming for us, and I think the major thing is to commend the federal government and the Debt Management Office and Federal Ministry of Environment. It's been something that we've ideally really been working on since 2016, when the product idea was first of all crafted by the Nigerian Stock Exchange, and we engaged with the erstwhile Minister of Environment. Since then, we've had tremendous support from the Debt Management Office and other participants that form the Product Advisory Group. And the run-up to this is the bond was issued actually in December, and what we've tried to do as much as possible is to pitch the right time, to schedule calendars so that the listing can actually sound the gong to the world, so to say, because it's really a first for a sub-Saharan African sovereign, and also the first in Africa, really.
Talking about being a first, I'm really interested in, in the awareness that has been created from December till now. How much are people aware of it, and how much do they really understand of the green bond? Okay,
so the awareness around the bond has actually been way before even the issuance of the bond. If memory serves, around March last year, we actually had a conference headlined by the Vice President of the Federation at the time to create awareness around the fact that Nigeria is signed up to the Paris Climate Agreement, as well as the fact that these bonds are not something difficult to understand. It is a bond. It's the use of the proceeds from the bond that is really key, and the fact that it aligns with things that are environmentally beneficial and help to sustain the habitat and climate objectives and align with green bond principles. So since then, we've had webinars organized. We had a webinar organized with Moody's, for instance, last year in the run-up to the issuance. Since then, we've seen in the market that the SEC has released green bond listing rules. We ourselves issued green bond listing guidelines last year for admitting securities on the exchange. We've seen a lot of awareness from the Federal Ministry of Environment. So it's been an ecosystem-driven awareness campaign, and it's something that will continue. So we have FAQs on the websites, we have webinars we'll continue to run, and pre-listing conference on Friday.
Well, let's just look forward to the listing. Let's talk about, of course, expectations from participants. What's the market looking forward to?
I think for us, expectations from participants will be adoption. I think green bonds, given where the Nigerian economy is, and in particular our infrastructure deficit gaps, it presents a unique opportunity for us to build infrastructure and build it in a way that is sustainable and friendly to the environment. If we have a 180 million odd population count, and we're growing at about 2%, you definitely need to plan how you are expanding the cities and how you are developing those cities. And green bonds create an avenue by which you can fund those projects economically sound and at the same time protect the environment for future generations. So for us, we'd like to see corporates issuing bonds. The sovereign has done a fantastic effort, as in they went all out, all bells and whistles. With regards to external reviews criteria, there are really 4 levels that you have to attain. One is that you could get a second-party opinion, which is just having somebody that is aware of green bond principles review the disclosure and use of proceeds that you've taken up, and then align and say, yes, this is true. Then above that is verification, which involves actually verifying that the climate objectives that you aim to achieve are actually achievable based on the projects that you're talking about.
It's interesting you should mention it, because I want to ask, the question I want to ask now is, how much of that really, is available for the public to see? Do we have a very clear picture of what the funds, of course, will be used for? What kind of project? When we talk about the environment, really, I look at that ministry as pretty silent over time in terms of what they've done, when we talk about the environment. So it's really interesting to see what this funds will be used for at the end of the day. So do we have that information out there? Do we have a very proper breakdown?
Absolutely. So the good thing about green bonds is transparency. So the green bond prospectus and pricing supplement is available on the exchange website as well as on the DMO website and other websites for people to see. These particular funds were raised for 3 specific groups of projects. 2 by the Federal Ministry of Power, Works and Housing, and 1 by the Ministry of Environment, which is actually targeted at an afforestation program that they are championing. while the Federal Ministry of Works, Power and Housing is focused on 2 projects. One, to enable 45 communities that are not connected to the grid, to give them off-grid electricity access. And secondly, to provide energy for 37 federal universities and 7 teaching hospitals.